Heidi-ho. Thank you for joining me again. This time I'd like to discuss immigration with you. I think I've touched on the subject a time or two, briefly, but I'd like to try to go into a little bit more detailed analysis of how I see the issue. The whole idea of building a wall didn't take a center stage until the last election cycle. And to this day, they're still talking about building a wall, but the wall hasn't been built. And I don't know how important of a voting issue that's going to be in the midterm elections, or I should say in 2020, when the president runs for re-election. Some people believe that the president got elected in part on this promise to build the wall. Yes, I think a lot of people do want him to build that wall, but I really think most people are just concerned about him fixing the immigration problem. And it is a problem on both sides, for both the immigrants as well as the citizens. Immigrants come in and they do take some jobs from citizens, and Americans think that's unfair. It's also unfair to the immigrants who are being underpaid because they're not citizens, so they're not afforded the same protections that American citizens have. So they're being exploited. They're cheap labor. And we've had this immigration problem for so many years because a lot of Republicans want cheap labor, okay? A lot of companies, I guess, lobby Republicans so they can continue doing what they're doing, and that is hire people who are illegal. And that's what they are. They're not just undocumented. You can call them that if you want to. They're also illegal because they have broken the law to come here. That makes them illegal. All right? And the Democrats also want them because they know that, someday these minorities may gain citizenship and may be able to vote, and they tend to vote, Democrat. So both parties have, not only tolerated this illegal immigration, but they actually kind of seem to welcome it. The Democrats obviously more so. But it's a problem, and I've had a friend who's attacked me and said, telling me that I'm a minority, and that is true. But I am American born. I was born in New York City to Cuban immigrants. All right, and I'm not proud to be Cuban. It's just what I am. I grew up in this country, and I was born in this country. And even if I wasn't born in this country, I grew up here and I've assimilated, and my parents came here legally. And that's what one of my friends wants to continue overlooking when he tries to argue immigration with me. And, I've told this friend, and now I'm telling you, we need to enforce our immigration laws, and every country has a right to have a border. Let me try to personalize this for you a little bit more. Okay, think of the wall as a fence around your house. All right? If you could choose to live in a house, that borders like a 2 or even a 4-lane road, and you have small children, you have, indoor, outdoor pets, wouldn't you feel safer if you had a fence around your house than if you didn't? Wouldn't you want to live, if you had a choice of 2 houses that border that road, and one of them had a fence and one of them didn't? Wouldn't you rather live in the one that has the fence? Okay? So apply that to our nation. Don't you feel a little safer knowing that our government is stopping people at the border and making sure they're identifying who they are and authorizing their passage or turning them away if, for whatever reason, they don't qualify. You know, they're not qualified to gain entry for whatever reason. I mean, just think of it that way. It's not that we want to keep people out. We just, you know, I personally want immigration laws to be upheld. And I want people to come in legally. And there are people that are trying to come legally. And it's not fair to them that other people are coming in and they're breaking our laws to come here and they're waiting in line. It's just not fair to them. All right. So we have to do what's fair. We have to have legal immigration. And, you know, we got to stop exploiting the people that come here. We got to pay them, you know, the same kind of wages that we pay our American workers. But let's first, you know, have them come here legally and gain a work permit. All right. So, you know, I have a friend of mine, he's just overlooking all of that, and he says it's all about racism, and it's not that. It's just about knowing who's in our country and having people come here illegally, because you have people just pouring across the borders, you know, and then they're just using our services, and, you know, and the argument is they're paying taxes. They're not really paying taxes. You know, a lot of them are being paid under the table. Some of them may be paying taxes, but, you know, so they're being, and they're not getting anything for that, right? Or they are getting services, but a lot of them are, there's just, we need to be able to keep track of who's coming in. Let's personalize it again. All right, let's take your home, for example. All right, obviously you have a door on your house, right? And you decide who comes and goes. Shouldn't the country also be able to choose who comes and goes? You don't let anyone into your house. And when you have someone come in, you know, you decide how long they get to stay and when they have to leave, right? I mean, it's the same thing. You wouldn't want people just coming in and eating your food and, you know, using up your electricity and your hot water and all your laundry detergent, doing wash and stuff and not giving anything back. There are people that come here and do that. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. All right. So it's not a racist issue. It's a safety issue, and it's for economic reasons. All right. I say continue letting people come into this country, okay, but they need to apply for citizenship. They need to get green cards. They need to get, you know, visiting visas or whatever it's called. Things need to be done in an orderly fashion. It doesn't seem that things are happening that way. All right. And, you know, just recently in Greenville, I don't know if it was South Carolina, North Carolina, or I don't even know why it concerns so much a state that's not a border state, but they recently had a rally, and they got permits to have a rally for building of the wall, and then these counter-protests got wind of the fact that there was going to be this rally, so they decided to have a counter-protest. And it ended up where two people that were posing as you know, supporters of the wall actually weren't supporters of the wall at all. They brandished a Black Lives Matters sign and like a rainbow flag. And that's not what the protest was about. It was about building the wall. So obviously they were asked to leave, and they wouldn't, and there was an altercation, and 4 people ended up arrested. All right, so there's a lot of people agitating and starting things, and a lot of this stuff is driven by emotion. People aren't really thinking this through, and how, you know, allowing these things to happen, how it would really affect us. And that's why I tried to use these examples where, where I tried to personalize a situation. All of us want to feel safe, and we don't want our resources depleted, in our own backyard. And if it's not right for us, it's not right for the country either. So that's most of what I have to say about immigration. That's all that's flooding my mind at the moment, but I've given a lot more thought than this, trust me. And I welcome your comments, and that may also jog my memory about some of the other things I'd like to say about it. So let me know what you think, and I appreciate you hearing me out and watching and agreeing. And if you don't, keep on watching. You'll see in time you will agree with me. Thank you. That's all I have for you today. We're done.